gorgeous. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. If you're new, it means so much if you guys hit the subscribe button. I do post every single Tuesday and Thursday, and I also do post 2 to 3 videos every single month over on my Patreon, and we get real personal up in there. I just went ahead and released a story time video about the time that I walked on my friend's ex cheating. So that was a crazy one, and you definitely have to check it out. I will have the link down below to my Patreon for you to join. So thank you guys so much if you support me over on there. But let's get into what this video is about. I have talked about this now a couple times on my channel, talking about my weight gain. I've definitely gone through a roller coaster of emotions when it comes to my weight gain and just all of the changes that we have all been going through. And I kind of wanted to just do an update, and I really wanted to talk about this because over on my Instagram, I asked you guys to ask me questions, and I actually got a ton of questions around kind of an update of just my life, and also a lot of questions around body advice, body confidence, and all of that. I want to talk about my weight gain and everything that's come along with that, and just where I'm at now. Let's jump right into the video. Like I always say, 2020 was literally the craziest thing ever. Enters the pandemic that we never saw coming, and I just took the pandemic, and my health pretty much went downhill during that time. I definitely stopped exercising with the lockdowns and everything. I just kind of took that as a time where I just stopped exercising. I couldn't go to my gym, and the gym was such a big part of my life. Not working out every single week, 5 times a week, was a big adjustment to me. And with that, and with all these emotions that we were going through, I really turned to food, which was very different for me. And I usually wouldn't turn to food. I started eating a lot more unhealthy things, not really doing my healthy habits anymore, and just falling into this really bad slump, an unhealthy slump. And I felt like I just couldn't get into it. All my stress and emotions and everything I was going through personally, and just with the whole pandemic, the stress that that's brought on all of us, I would turn to food and just eat junk food and not care what I ate, and wouldn't get much movement because of the lockdowns, and I would just sit at home all the time. And that led me to where I am now, where I gained weight during this process. I gained between 15 to probably 20 pounds at my heaviest during the last 2 years, and it was very hard for me personally. I always feel like I struggled a lot with self-esteem in certain aspects, and body image was really difficult for me. And this just made me go through even more crazy emotions. I just want to talk about it because I think it's so normal for your body to go through changes, and I definitely have a totally different mindset from where I was a year ago to today, present day. Let's rewind back. I feel like I've always been a very sporty, athletic person. I love sports. I grew up in sports, and that just led me naturally to the gym, and I became in love with working out. But I feel like when I used to work out, I always felt like I could improve this, I can do this, and I'm not good enough until I lose this weight, or I look like this, or get this at the gym. Like, I always put so much pressure on myself, and I feel like looking back, it was so unhealthy, and I definitely was not living in the moment. Honestly, as even a young girl or a young boy, you're constantly pushed to look a certain way. I feel like we have come a long way in 2021, and there's a lot more representation of different bodies, but we're definitely not there. And I know for myself, growing up, I was in the era of pretty much body shaming. It's funny because now I feel like this is a trend on TikTok. Anyone that grew up in the early 2000s definitely can relate with me. Comment down below what year you were born, because I remember being just a young girl and a teenager even, and just seeing these magazine covers and these like news articles about this celebrity gaining weight, this celebrity looking bad. I remember there was articles on like Jessica Simpson's, Hillary Duff, and all these people that I looked up to when I was young. There's all these like media just ripping them apart and calling them fat and they gained weight and this and that and how they look ugly now. And it was so crazy to look back at what was allowed to be published and the paparazzi photos and all that, because it was brutal. And growing up seeing those images, you take that in and not realizing, and you really start to look at your own body and your own self, and then you start to feel like you're never good enough and you need to lose weight too, and you need to look like this in order to be seen as beautiful. So seeing all those images growing up was really difficult, and I feel like it's still difficult for all of us. And although we have definitely come a long way, it's still not there. Just recently in 2021, I've been seeing all over again the news talking about Camila Cabello gaining weight. She was like out for a walk with her boyfriend and even in a bikini, and they're just talking about her weight gain. And they did the same, I know, with Selena Gomez now. It's so wrong, but it's so, I feel like, normal in today's society, and it affects us so much, but it keeps happening. My weight gain really has taught me a lot. It was really hard for me. I gained all this weight, and I also at the same time couldn't fit a lot of my clothes, and it just made me feel really bad about myself. I really struggled for a long time. I covered myself up a lot. I didn't want to wear anything revealing, anything tight, because I just didn't feel comfortable in my new body where I've gained weight. And for a long time I was just struggling, and I didn't know how to get out of the slump because everything just made me feel worse and worse and worse. And it wasn't until recently where I really just changed my mindset, and I really tried to change it into a lifestyle. So just this week I finally went back to my gym, which it's almost been 2 years since I've stepped in a gym, which is mind-blowing to me. Now that the lockdown is over and gyms reopened, I know gyms did reopen on and off throughout the last 2 years, but at that point I just wasn't comfortable yet going in public with so many people. I started to go back to the gym at 5:30, 6 in the morning like I used to do. It's been feeling really nice to go back to the gym and work out and finally take charge of kind of my health, but at the same time I have a completely different mindset. Before, I was really just trying to constantly get this unrealistic body that I was never gonna get no matter how hard I worked out. And now I'm going back into the gym, and I'm going into my life and as a whole to really fuel my body and just be healthy. With my weight gain, I definitely learned to start to accept my body, and whether I gain weight, lose weight, I've learned to come to accept it and be okay with it. But at the same time, I have to say, when I did gain weight, I was very unhealthy. I stopped exercising. I was just not fueling my body with good nutrients. So all the time I'd feel lethargic, I'd feel nauseous all the time, I'd feel really like lazy. And I kind of just got to this point where I was sick of it, and I decided to start to swap my foods out and start eating more healthier things, adding more veggies into my diet, also adding exercise. I was working out in my basement for a while now, and just recently, like I said, this week I have been back to the gym, so that's been really great. But this time I'm learning that I just want to go in and just be my healthiest possible version and not go in to try and satisfy this unrealistic body type and try to mold into this unrealistic body type. I feel like no matter what time we are in, the ideal body type is always unrealistic and just unattainable for majority of people. Like I said, when I was growing up, being extremely thin, unhealthy thin, is what was really pushed. For the majority of us, it was just so unrealistic and unattainable to get that body type in a healthy manner. It just was not realistic, but it was the one really pushed and made you think that you had to look like that. And I find now the body type has definitely changed from when I was in high school. It's definitely like, you know, that Kardashian body type with the big hips, the small waist, the big chest, and that's very unrealistic as well, though it's a lot more curvier than the really thin body type. It's a lot more curvier in certain areas. It's just very unrealistic once again, and a lot of the time these people have work done to them, but they don't disclose that, and it's just unrealistic to have that hourglass body type for the majority of people. So even when these body ideals are changing over time, it's always one extreme to the next. Like, it's never just the average person or showing all the average different body types that we all have. When I first started going to the gym, I remember one thing I really wanted was a really small waist. Like I wanted to make my waist smaller. I was at my fittest and most healthiest time ever, but I could never get my waist smaller than a certain point. And I realized that that's just not my body shape. My body can only do so much, and it's just not the way that I was born, that my body shape, it's not in my genetics, and you can only do so much in a healthy manner. I realized that I'm never going to have that, and that is okay. And then I really realized that a lot of these body types are just not realistic, but when you're young and kind of more naive and you don't really know, you get really brainwashed, and that's what leads to it being unhealthy for young girls and young boys. You know, your body's gonna go through changes throughout different stages of your life, and it's totally okay. And I really come to accept that it's okay. We all went through a pandemic, and if you gained weight during this time, that is okay. You know, we were all trying to kind of get through this really stressful and life-altering change, but I always think there's like a healthy balance. It's totally okay to, you know, gain weight and have different body types, different shapes. It doesn't matter the size you are. And it's also good to obviously take those steps and try and be the healthiest you can for yourself so that you can live a long life and so that you can be the healthiest version possible. I know I really started to see it like I want to be healthy, and if I'm extremely healthy and I don't lose all the weight I gained, but I've been healthy and exercising, then that is okay, because I really always just used to focus on a number, and if I don't reach this number, it's not good enough. But I realized that I also do want to be healthy for myself. You know, I want to have a family very soon, hopefully, and I want to be my healthiest version for my future family as well. And just for myself to live a long life where I feel good in my body, because like I said, I was not feeling good in my body. I felt like crap all the time, eating bad and just not exercising and being moving a lot. So making those changes has really made a difference. If you guys want to see like kind of like a healthy habits video or just little things that I've been doing to really change my year around, because like I said, I just got in really bad unhealthy habits and it led to obviously my weight gain. But I think it's really important also to just have that balance and know your size does not define you, and just because you're not a certain number, it doesn't mean you're less worthy. And I really had to learn that, and I definitely was going through a roller coaster. I felt really low. I started to feel a little better, went back to feeling like crap, and it's just been a whole mindset journey. It definitely was very hard for me to be okay with gaining weight and just seeing kind of the scale go up over the last couple years. It made me feel not good about myself for a long time, but I really learned to change my mindset and realize that you're not defined by a number. And also, in the end of the day, a number is not going to tell you anything as long as you are comfortable and feel good physically and mentally in your body, and as well as you know that you're being the healthiest that you can be, and you're trying to at least, you know, live a healthy life and a healthy lifestyle, then that's okay. And your body doesn't have to be like this unrealistic ideal body shape or body type. We are all born different shapes. We all have different genetics. We all have different lifestyles, and that is okay. And I hope, you know, that one day we get to this point where models and just like pictures of like clothes and stuff are just show all different shapes and sizes, because that's just gonna make it, being around those images constantly will really change a lot of people's mindsets. But unfortunately, I just find that although it's changed a little bit, it's just still not where it should be. And a lot of the time, there's always some sort of distortion or extreme, even when they try and change it a little bit. Like, it's always ends up being unrealistic for majority of people. I definitely learned that I have to dig deep and really start to love myself. I feel like it's a lot easier said than done. A lot of the times I put my energy in other people. I would always put my energy and love them and just give everything. But when I looked at myself back, I feel like I wouldn't give myself that same love. I really had to look deep because of all the changes in 2020. I definitely went through a roller coaster physically and emotionally. A lot has changed for a lot of our lives. I know for myself, a lot of people have come and go within the last year and a half, and that was really difficult for me to kind of come to be okay with. I really had to look more at myself and love myself, because in the end of the day, you have yourself. You are in your body. You're the only one that's gonna love yourself and be there in the end of the day. And I really relied on other factors a lot of the times and didn't really give myself that confidence or put the trust on me that I'm gonna be okay with just me and I'm gonna be there for myself. I always would just put it on other people and rely on other people's validations or other validations, and it wouldn't just trust my gut, trust my instincts, trust myself. So you really have to just learn to love yourself and be happy and realize, you know, you just have this one body, this one life, and make the best out of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I was really rambling and probably all over the place, but I hope it was useful, helpful, or just made you feel better. If you guys like this video, subscribe. I do post every single Tuesday and Thursday. Like I said, I'll have my Patreon down below. I do have story times and other things on there. If you guys want to get to know me a little bit more, just have more private chats, definitely join my Patreon. With that being said, I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!